Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about tree spirits. And if you stay on and listen to the whole video, towards the end I'll even tell you a story about twin flame tree spirits. So first of all, tree spirits are beautiful beings that are the soul of the tree. And a big part of what they're doing here on earth is holding the light, not only for us, but for nature as a whole. So they are anchoring down their own ascension energy that is working with Mother Gaia, pulling down that energy from the sun for her. Now, she doesn't need that. She can get it directly from the sun. But the way the trees filter this energy through is really helpful and healthy for the ecosystem as a whole. So it kind of brings down beautiful energy into the soil, and it really assists the trees as they are preparing to physically move through ascension as well. It's also assisting the other plants and the animals that live out in the forest or anywhere that a tree is. So if it resonates with you, if this idea resonates with you, I invite you to try and connect with a tree spirit. And I'll tell you my experience with doing this, and maybe something similar will work for you. So go ahead and make sure you do whatever you're called to in the moment. But here are just some tips and processes that you can follow as well and see if they work for you. The first thing to keep in mind if you want to connect with any being really, but definitely a tree spirit, is that you have an open heart going into it. So I like to approach a tree first by offering my love and oftentimes an apology for the way that humans often treat trees. So as an example, there's a forest nearby my house where they put a new walking path in and they took out some trees. So right before that happened, I could feel the energy in the forest shift. And so I did go up to a few trees and speak to them and explain what was happening and offer, my apologies for the deforestation that I knew was going to occur, and just kind of offer that to them. Some of them had messages for me and some of them didn't. It just depends on a lot of things. I do find that older trees are more likely to communicate than younger trees. But really it's all about what resonates for you and what tree you're kind of attracted to. Also, trees that are in your immediate vicinity or somewhere that you travel to often are a lot of times placed there on purpose, not necessarily for you, and vice versa. It's just kind of the way things all work out. It is orchestrated divinely, right? So these trees may be the perfect ones for you. If they're already sitting in your backyard or your front yard, they may be the ones that actually do want to reach out and talk to you. So any tree that you're attracted to, you can kind of start this process. So again, first thing you want to do is kind of center yourself and breathe. Open up your heart space as much as you can. Fill yourself with, loving energy as much as you can. Go and sit with them. If you feel called, you can actually touch their trunk and offer them just some love, unconditional love. Just try and have that loving energy moving through your heart space and into your hands, and just kind of send it out to the tree and let them know that you have love for them. You can thank them for what they're doing. You can say you're thankful for the oxygen they provide, or the shade, or the beautification, or anything you want. And again, you can also offer apologies if that's necessary. There's also another tree close to me that I have offered apology to. Actually, the very first tree that ever talked to me, I was offering an apology to because one of my son's little friends had been in the backyard and they had taken like a shovel and been hitting the tree with it. I don't know why, but so later on that day I went and had a little ceremony, and I kind of gave that tree in that area some of my loving energy, and let it know I was really sorry that that had happened to it. You know, that child, you know, didn't realize what it was doing, and just offered that I was sorry that that had happened to the tree. And that's the first time I really actually started getting downloads and messages from a tree. So I recommend that you give that a try if you feel called as well. I have a lot I wanted to mention, so apologies for looking at my notes here. Other trees that could be of interest too, if you happen to be on vacation at the same spot a lot of times, a tree that you often see on vacation may also be another tree that's calling out to you. So I invite you to not be embarrassed and go ahead and check out trees that you see, whether you're going to work or on vacation or things like that. Okay, another topic I wanted to mention was gnomes and dryads. So these are different kind of spirits. They're not like the soul of the actual tree. People are probably more familiar with gnomes, but these two different kind of spirits, gnomes and dryads, can be actually protectors of a tree. The dryad usually is attached to one particular tree for most of its life. Whereas gnomes kind of usually look after a whole area of the forest. It could be a group of gnomes or a solitary gnome. So something I recently did, I planted 14 trees a couple years ago, and I had, at that time I had planted some crystals with them, and I really think that helped them grow a lot faster. And then last year I actually requested that either gnomes or dryads or both would come to my area and protect those trees and look after those trees. And you know, I put out that I also will do my best to look after those trees and help them grow healthy. So I have not gotten any response or seen any in my garden yet, but it is something that I also recommend you do if you have a sick tree or you just have a tree that you really care about and you want to see protected. And I will update you in the future on how that turns out, if I get any messages or I see any signs. I have seen fairies in my backyard, but not gnomes or dryads yet, so maybe I'll talk about that in another video. So the last thing I wanted to mention was the twin flame message that I got from these beautiful beech trees. So there's a path by my house, and there's these two beautiful beech trees, and their limbs are actually like intertwined like this. And I will try and have that picture as the thumbnail for this video. If I can't do that, I'll put it down in the comment section. But these two trees are just so beautiful. And when I knew that I wanted to talk to them a long time ago, and I kind of worked up to it, I would visit them a whole bunch and kind of send them love from far away, or a few feet away. And then, because I knew they were super powerful trees. And then one day I decided it was time, and I went up to them and approached them, and I put one hand on each tree, and I just kind of opened up my crown chakra and opened up my heart and felt my feet grounding down before I did that. And before I even got a chance to try and communicate or do anything, I just felt this crazy spinning of my energy. And I think they were actually helping me to like spin my energy even faster. And I just got these huge downloads. And I heard them talking to me, and mostly it was the divine feminine counterpart that talked to me the most. She's on the left-hand side in the picture, and the male is on the right. And of course, I know trees are not really male or female. Some of them can have male or female flowers and things like that. But they let me know that they were embodying twin flame energy, and that was part of what their mission was and what they had chosen to do in this incarnation. And so they talked to me about twin flames and why it was important for them to be holding that energy right now. And they just introduced themselves as the divine feminine one and the divine masculine, and explained to me about some things that I said earlier about how trees are holding the light for Mother Gaia and for all of us. And I thought it was really beautiful. I am not aware that I am personally on a twin flame journey, so I don't know a lot about it. But if you are on a twin flame journey, I even more so encourage you to think about reaching out to the tree spirits, because they may have message for you about the twin flame journey. And then the last thing I want to close with is kind of two interesting stories about these tree spirits and how there was a physical manifestation that I could see in my life that I thought was really interesting. So the tree that I just mentioned that gave me the information about being divine twin flame energy anchorers, there was a new path that was going to be made in the woods by my house where this tree is, and people had been carving on this tree a lot, you know, their initials and things like that, because there's such two beautiful trees. And so I reached out to the folks that were overseeing the township where I live. They was overseeing this new path, and I explained to them the situation, and I even sent a picture of the tree, and the tree had requested that I help it when I had apologized for all the carvings. And this wasn't the same tree that was the very first tree that I talked to, but I apologized to a lot of trees about carvings, because it's really unfortunate that people do that a lot, especially to the most beautiful trees. Anyway, I got the message from them that they needed some help because of all the carvings, and I got the downloads that I should talk to the people that were making this new path, because my concern was that the path was going to open it up for more people to see this tree and carve in this tree. So I discussed this with the folks that were planning the path, and they actually took this into account. And that's not normally something that I think that people planning something for the public would take into account, but they did, and they actually moved where the path was going to be, and now it is super far away from those trees, and it will actually deter people from the general public from being very close to those trees. And I just thought it was super interesting that happened from a conversation that I had with the actual trees themselves. And then another fun story is that there's a beautiful tree in a place that I go a lot for vacation, which is Mexico, down in Mexico. We visit the same place every year or so. And so anyway, I've connected with this tree many times. And the first time I connected with this tree, it was just kind of on a path that was kind of out of the way. And a few years later, when I came back, they had been making a new path, and the tree was kind of in the way of what they were building. And instead of taking the tree down, what they did was they made a path around the tree, and they kind of built like a little platform on the tree, and they hung all these huge hearts from all the branches, and they put like a big sign in the front that said like the tree of love or something like that. And now it's protected, and it's like this fun thing that everyone that stays there likes to go and get their picture taken there. And I just think it's so interesting. I'm not saying that I had anything to do with these changes, but I think it's so interesting that when a human connects with something like a tree spirit and they begin getting involved, I think that energy just kind of shifts things. And sometimes a small spark can really ignite a huge fire. So would love to hear what you guys think about this. If you guys have communicated with tree spirits ever, or if you want to, let me know in the comment section. And I am so happy that I got to connect with all of you, and I look forward to talking to you in the next video. Bye for now.